Welcome to this very gentle Pilates-inspired sequence for your menstrual phase. This practice is very grounding. We are mat bound for the entire practice in both kneeling, supine, and belly down movement patterns. So we're really creating that sense of ease and flow during this time in the cycle. This practice is a bit on the longer side. It is very gentle. We're not moving into high levels of exertion. Instead, we're moving very slowly. We're creating targeted engagement and effort throughout the body, but without that high intensity. So it's a very accessible practice and one that you can enjoy for that sort of long form workout and movement that you might be seeking during this kind of lower energy portion of the cycle. During this time, there is very little hormonal interference in the body. So our mental and emotional currents are in greater union. We can kind of create this sense of clarity that comes only when we kind of remove the distraction that elevated hormones can create in the body. So use the slower movement, use the space between breaths, between exercises to have that exercise and self-reflection, to really listen for anything that bubbles to the surface, anything that might be craving your attention and your care during this time. This is a part of our self-love series. And in the menstrual phase, it's all about really shedding anything that is not in service of our greatest self-love. So really letting go, allowing your body to feel whatever's coming up. So allowing it to be heavy, to be grounded, and to create that foundation, that space for the rest of this cycle so that you can fill that space with whatever it is that you are creating in this month, in this cycle. It could be, if you're joining us, self-love. That could be what you are clearing space for today. All you will need is a mat, and if you are practicing on a hard surface, I'd recommend having a cushion or a blanket to place under the knees, as we will be spending a lot of time in that kneeling position in tabletop and also on the back. So add a bit of comfort with just a cushion or another soft surface underneath you. And let's get started with today's movement practice. Welcome to this very gentle Pilates-inspired movement practice for your menstrual phase. In today's practice, we will begin in a kneeling position in child's pose, if that's comfortable. And before we get started, just a note about kind of the structure of this practice. We will be spending a lot of time in a kneeling position where the knees or the arms are on the mat. So if you're practicing on a hard surface, grab a cushion or a blanket or something just to create a bit more comfort for the joints as we move along. So beginning in child's pose here, big toes touch, the knees come wide apart, let your hips soften to your heels. And if that's too much flexion in the knees, you can always come up onto forearms and let the hips stay a bit elevated. Wherever you are, let yourself rest there for a few rounds of breath, creating this union between body and breath from the start. So full body inhales and exhales. Just let the air inhabit your entire chest, your belly, your back. Let your torso really inflate and relax as you breathe. As you're ready, we will come up to a tabletop position. Let your shoulders be over your wrists, your hips over your knees, and just find the neutral shape in the spine. As you do this, gently draw the hip points to the low ribs. Notice if you can maintain that connection as you stretch the heart forward. And then we'll warm up the spine with a few rounds of cat and cow. On your inhale, soften the belly, shine your sitting bones back, ripple up the spine, send your gaze up. From the sitting bones, curl under, and then ride that wave back the other direction, all the way to the crown, chin to chest. Again, inhale, fill the lungs all the way. See if you can map the movement onto the breath. So really finding that pace. Exhale, cat pose. Gentle bend in the elbows here. Trying not to lock the joint. Inhale, last round like this. Really warming the spine, noticing how it feels to stretch in both directions. And then come back to your neutral spine. Begin to shift weight into your left hand. And then send your right leg straight back. Notice what happens if the hip starts to pop up. Can you square the hips to the mat? Hug energy between the inner thighs to the midline. Once you feel stability here, knit low ribs to the hip points, and then reach your left arm forward. Again, squaring the shoulders, feeling that proprioception, so that sense of where your body is in space. So notice when you feel it sort of lock into that horizontal position. Big inhale here. Continue warming the spine, activating the belly as you exhale, knee to elbow, round as deeply as you can. Really feel the belly curl in. And then re-extend, reach in both directions. Inhale. Exhale, coil in. This is really focused core engagement here. Inhaling, stretch in opposite directions. And as you exhale, hug in. Twice more like that. Inhaling, stretch back. Rotate inner right thigh up in space. Exhale, curl in. Last one here. Inhale, reach. And exhale. Inhale, re-extend, and then return left hand, right knee to the mat. Shake it out a bit. Just notice how you feel different now, one side to the other. We'll begin to extend the left leg back with an inhale, and as you're ready, begin to stretch the right arm forward. Find that level plane first, and then begin with a big inhale. And as you exhale, coil to the center. Wrap your energy into the center of your being. Inhale, expand it out. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, activate the belly, really drawing those hip points and low ribs together. Twice more like this. Exhale, and inhale. Last one. This time as you inhale, re-extend. Let your right hand, left foot this time come down to the mat. Start to spin your right shin out behind you like a kickstand. Keep your right hand or right fist on the earth. Begin to spin your left arm open, supported side plank. Really root down through the left foot. And then if you can, extend the left arm overhead, creating as much length as you can from left fingertips to left foot. And then we'll exchange sides here. So left hand comes down, left knee comes to the earth, kickstand that left shin, right toes out. Open the right arm up, supported side plank, and then reach the right arm over. So again, just creating length here in the torso, in the sides of the waist. Coming down as you're ready, back through tabletop. Keep your hips over your knees. Start to walk the hands forward into puppy pose. And notice if there's a collapse in the elbows. So if you have hypermobility in the elbows, they can tend to collapse a bit in these arm-supported shapes. So can you squeeze the arms to the midline, press through the hands to create activation there, protect the joint. Then begin to slide forward onto your belly, forearms stay planted, Sphinx pose. Stretch back through the toes, up through the heart. Press down through your forearms, drag them back toward your hips. Feel that anchor from the hip points to the tops of the feet, and then let your spine extend from there. Continuing to activate the belly here. So as you're ready, forearms stay grounded, and then your knees stay grounded. We're just going to coil the belly in and round up. So feel that deep engagement all the way, and then unfold. Exhale, curl in. Feel that rounding and extension of the spine. So kind of two polarities in the body, moving in and moving out. Last one here. Roll the belly in. And then slowly release. Let your torso come down to the mat. Bring your hands directly under your shoulders or a bit behind. Wrap your elbows into the body, squeeze them in tight, heavy the lower body to the mat. Coming into Cobra Pose on an inhale, roll the shoulders up and back. So your hips stay grounded, legs stay grounded, elbows stay hugging into the sides. Slowly release down as you're ready. Keep the knees on the mat, tuck the toes under, and with an inhale, come up into half plank. From here, you can stay in your half plank shape or begin to lift the legs into full plank. So here again, drawing the hip points toward the low ribs, getting that gentle curl in the tail, but then re-extending the heart. On your next exhale, come back through downward dog. You can keep the heels elevated here as we're simply warming the body still. Shine the sitting bones up and back. And then we'll just rotate through between those two shapes. As you inhale, come forward into plank. Feel the hips lock into that stable position. And as you exhale, downward dog. Inhale, roll forward, find your plank pose, shine the heart towards the top of your mat. And exhale, downward facing dog. Last one like this, big inhale. And exhale back, downward dog. Step the feet together here. Root down through your left foot. And as you inhale, reach the right leg back. Stay here for the exhale breath. And then on your next inhale, roll forward, one-legged high plank. Feel the challenge here, a bit of fire in the legs. Inhale back. Stay for the exhale. And inhale, come forward, high plank. We'll move with breath now. Exhale back. Inhale, high plank. One leg lifts. Last one here, reaching high, coming forward, and back to downward dog. This time you can release both feet to the mat. Again, just observing the two sides of the body, how they feel. Step your feet together once again. Anchor the right foot into the earth. Inhale, stretch your left leg back. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, roll forward, high plank. Exhale, downward dog with left leg extended. Inhale, high plank. Roll the spine. Exhale, downward dog. Last two here, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, roll the body forward and exhale. Let both feet come down to the earth, shake it out. And then find your tabletop. You can rest on the forearms for a few breaths here, just giving the shoulders an opportunity to rest, to recover, recalibrate. In our next series for the glutes, we'll be working in this 4-point stance, so tabletop stance, but you do have the option of coming onto the forearms if that is more supportive, more sustainable in your shoulders. So if you're finding your arms shaking a bit after that warming series, you can always come down onto the forearms. So I'll begin here and then move up to the full 4-point position as my wrists and shoulders feel ready. But wherever you are, let the knees stay on the mat. Shoulders are over the elbows, hips over the knees. We'll begin to extend the right leg back once again. Wrap the inner right thigh up in space. Take a big inhale breath. And as you exhale, tap the toes down. Inhale, lift. Really engage the glute. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift as high as you can without puffing the low ribs. And down. Lift up. The hips stay square. So notice if as you lift the leg, it wants to rotate the hip open. Can you keep that engagement, inner thigh to the midline? Let's take 8 more. 8, 7, breathing here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Next time, let's hold it here and pulse. At the top of the movement, pulse. Feel that squeeze in the glute. Let your head and neck stay neutral here. So soften the rest of the body. Just focus that work on the glute. Here we go. Let's take 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up. Circle the toes. One direction. Really feeling that energy build in the glute here. And the other direction. Tiny circles with the toes. Lifting the leg as high as it will go. Excellent job. I'm shifting up to the hands now. Continue circling if you can. I'm going to adjust on my mat here. And then we'll begin to create a rainbow arc with the leg. So as you're ready, inhale, tap the right toes to the left side of your mat, and then hug the right knee to your right elbow. So we're creating that big arc with the foot. Full range of motion here. Tapping the toes, and then the knee hugs in. So you'll feel this not only in the working glute in the right side, but in the supporting muscles of the left leg. Creating that nice wide arc here. Let's take 3, 2, tap the toes, and 1. We'll reverse now. So as you cross behind you, tap the right knee to the outside of left knee, and then extend the leg out to the side. So bend, extend. As best as you can, keeping that left hip stationary and square. So it may want to sort of counterbalance as you extend the leg. It might want to move to the left, but can you keep it in the center? It requires a lot of activation. Stay here just a few more breaths. Knee tucks, right leg extends. Last 3, 2, and 1. Let the right toes come down. And begin to circle that right hip back and forward. Just kind of letting the glute find a bit more circulation, increasing blood flow there. Just opening up the joint. And then coming back through center here, you might sway your hips side to side, create a bit of length in the outer glute that was working for you there. You can stay as you are. I'm going to switch for the second side here. And then same thing, you can start down on your forearms for the first exercises in this series, in this set of work. As you're ready, stretch your left leg back, and it's a simple tap and lift. Exhale as you lower, inhale as you lift up. So same thing here, knit the low ribs and the hip points together, and then lift the left leg as high as you can without flaring the low ribs so they stay integrated there. The left inner thigh wraps up in space, lifting and lowering. As best as you can, relaxing the wrists, the hands, giving the upper body a bit of a break. It will come into work for us momentarily, don't worry. Let's take 8, 7, really squeeze the glute. 5, 4, notice your belly engagement. 3, 2, and 1, hold here and pulse. So it's little up, little down. Tiny pulse. You should start to feel the work in that glute. Really wrapping the inner thigh up in space to keep the hips square. You can pick up the pace a little bit, find these quick pulses. And last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it here. Tiny circles. Draw circles with your big toe, the ball of your foot in one direction. Start to feel the hamstring working a bit here, and then reverse the direction. Keep the leg elevated here. And then if you like, you can transition back up to the wrists, back up onto the hands, and then pause. We're going to create that rainbow arc. So take your left foot over to the right, tap the toes, and then left knee to left arm. So nice and wide, creating a rainbow with the leg. And really engaging the sides of the waist, the obliques, as you hug that knee to the arm. Keeping the torso nice and long. Even as you create that side bend, can you maintain a bit of space and breathe here? Exhaling and inhaling. You might release some heat with exhales, forceful exhales through the lips. Last 3, 2, and 1. We'll switch it up now. So bend the knee as you cross behind you, left knee to outside of right leg, and extend the left leg out to the side. So it's a cross, extend, bend, extend. Tuck the knee behind, reach the leg out. Again, as best as you can, keeping the torso and the right hip stationary. Creating these nice wide sweeping movements. So working mobility in the hip joints while creating strength. Working the outer glutes here. We'll come into the inner legs later in the practice. Last 3, 2, and 1. Let that foot settle down on the mat and begin to circle. So you might be feeling it just as much in the right glute now as you feel it in the left. And just let this flush out here. Last 1. And then we'll come back to our tabletop position, moving into our upper body work here. So again, a lot of the upper body work, especially in these body weight movements, it involves weight bearing on the hands. So be mindful of your wrists, of your shoulders. If you ever need to come out, take a rest, shake it out, please do. And if we are on our wrists, but you feel better on your forearms, you can always practice there. In some of these plank shapes, you can always come down onto the knees. So really adjust this practice as needed for your body on this day. Lowering onto the belly now. Pillow your hands under your forehead, sway the hips side to side. And then begin to heavy the hip points into the mat. So create a bit of gravity there. And then can you anchor all the way down the legs through the tops of the feet, the tops of all 10 toes. As you're ready, we're coming into a swimmer lift. So you'll sweep your arms out to the side as you lift the torso. So really hug the elbows in, broaden the chest, and exhale down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift, press through the hip points, and lower. This is a great exercise, a great movement pattern for creating awareness in the back of the heart, the upper back, helping our posture. And as your posture improves, all of your vital organs, the abdominal organs, the heart, the lungs, their function improves when there's more space. Let's take 8 more. That's 8. 7, really hug the elbows into your sides. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, we're going to hold. Sweep the arms back behind you and gently tap the palms toward the earth. Let the legs stay very heavy here. Really letting the shoulders relax away from the ears. If you can, lift an inch higher with the chest. So working the rivers of the spine to support you. Stretching forward and up. 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can rest your forehead on the mat for a few breaths here. Sway the hips side to side. And then begin to roll onto your right side. Wrap your right arm underneath and cross it over your chest toward the left shoulder. So you find this clasp. Let your left hand come down to the earth. As best as you can, keep your legs extended. If this is too much, you can always bend the knees and come into kind of more of a side lying position. Otherwise, legs are straight. We're enjoying tricep push-ups here. As you're ready, press through the left hand, lift the torso only. So the lower half of the body stays heavy, and that allows us to isolate the tricep. This can be a challenging movement pattern. It is low impact, but it really targets and isolates the smaller muscle group in the back of the arm. So where can you recruit that effort, that localized strength? Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, last 3, you got this, 2, and 1. Rest, come through center, back onto your belly. So you can bring your hands, pillow them under your forehead. And here we're keeping the upper body heavy, and we're just lifting the legs. So it's lift and lift and lift. Nice and quick here, lifting and lowering. The hip points will stay grounded, but you can lift the legs, the thighs as high as you can here. You can keep the toes pointed or flexed or somewhere in between. Let's take 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it here. Tap the heels. Feel the glutes work. Feel the low spine engage. So targeting those hard to reach muscles that tend to only become activated when the rest of the muscles get tired. So really targeting the low back, the glutes here. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Sway the hips side to side. Free the sacrum here. So now we will roll onto the left side for our tricep push-ups. Now on this side, crossing left hand to right shoulder. Right hand stays planted down in front of you. You can keep the legs straight or bent, and we'll begin. Press up and lower down. So the upper body moves as a unit. Shoulders are relaxed down away from the ears. Find your rhythm here. I like starting with the left side. For me, that is the non-dominant side. Let's take 8. So you might try that in your practice, starting with your non-dominant side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Really feeling the backs of the arms there. Coming back onto your belly now. So we're moving into our push-ups now from this floor-bound position. So you can take your arms out wide, knees stay grounded. You can keep your toes on the mat as well, but we're just going into sort of a half push-up. So coming up, the hand position here is wider than the shoulders, so we're targeting the chest. And we simply lower, press up, squeeze at the top. Cultivate strength in the upper body. Here we are. 4, 12. 10. Use your breath. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can stretch out the arms here, leaning back if you need to. And then coming forward now, we're moving into a side plank variation. So you can bring your right forearm down on the mat, turn onto the outer edge of right foot, find your forearm side plank. Left arm stretches skyward. We're simply going to roll the left arm under and reach it back up. So the hips stay in that side plane, they don't move. It's just the upper arm rotating underneath you. So that right shoulder directly over the elbow, right forearm stretching outward towards the long edge of your mat. Let's take 8 more. 8. Open. 7. Stack the hips. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And you got this. 1. Back through side plank, pause, and then come back down onto your knees through the center. Finding that half plank position once again. We have one more round of push-ups, but this time with a narrow grip. So we're wrapping the elbows into the sides of the body. Again, trying not to lock the elbows here. So come into your half plank. So it's not tabletop. The hips are down and forward a bit. And it's a tricep push-up. So the elbows come straight back and push up. Straight back and push up. If you find that your lower back feels any strain or you're having to sort of wiggle to get up, you can always shrink the range of motion so you can stay sort of more in the upper range of motion. Otherwise, we're here for 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep the belly strong. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press it up all the way. You can stretch back if you need to here. Release the shoulders. We're coming into that forearm side plank on the second side now. So left arm out to the side. Stack the hips. Right arm reaches. And we're just rotating that right arm under and re-extend. So the shoulders are stacked. Hips are stacked. You're really pressing through the outer edge of left foot to keep lots of space between the left side body and the mat. Let's enjoy 8 more here. That's 8. 7. Feel that engagement at the top. Really press through the palm. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Slowly coming through center. Release your knees to the earth. Wiggle your hips side to side. Cross at the ankles here. We're transitioning now to our seat. So you can let your feet come out in front of you and create a bit of engagement in the legs. So hug the knees, the inner thighs to the midline, and then press your feet into the mat. Tilt the pelvis forward so that you're on the front edge of your sitting bones. Bring your hands to your heart. Very simple in the beginning, just to create some awareness and activation. Begin to twist to the left. Without using your arms, without adjusting your legs, just use the strength of your belly to rotate the spine. From tail to crown, one line, so we're not leaning back or forward. And then switch to the other side, rotate. As far as you can go using the strength of your belly only. And then a bit quicker now, rotating. So really pressing the back elbow as you twist. Last 3, 2, and 1. Coming through center. Release down onto your forearms now. Let your shins come to parallel. So 90-degree bend in the knees. And we're simply going to lower one leg and then the other. Keeping the belly hugging to spine. So avoid any coning in the center ridge of the abdominals. Really creating that engagement to keep the belly flat. If you like, you can take both legs together for a bit of challenge. Last 8, 7, 6, stay strong, chest elevated. 3, you got this. 2, and 1. Come back up to that starting position, and then begin to hug your knees toward your chest, roll them over to the left, and then reverse the direction as you roll to the right. So creating again that sort of arc shape with the legs, like you're drawing a rainbow through the air. Really engaging the belly, letting it the knees come close, and then letting them move away. So you should feel deep activation all along the belly, wrapping around here. One more time, each side. And then coming back through center. You can lower all the way down onto your back now. And we'll let the toes turn out. Find your butterfly shape in the legs. So inner edges or soles of the feet touching. Finding that knees wide butterfly shape. You can bring your hands to the back of your head for support here. And we'll begin by simply lowering the heels and lifting them up. So it's a lower and a lift. Gentle tap and back up. If you want to add the upper body, you can lower and lift up. Keep the neck relaxed, the elbows wide. So we're just creating this pulse here. Wrapping the spine around the belly as you roll up. You might even place a hand to belly, get that feedback. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Keep the legs as they are. Let the head rest down. Bring your hands to your inner knees and add a gentle press. As you press your knees out, can you hug your knees back into your hands? So creating that equal and opposite action, isometric engagement here. And then release that. You might feel a bit of trembling in the legs there. That's okay. Your muscles are excited. Hands to the outer knees now. Press your outer knees like you're trying to close the legs. And then your knees back into your hands. Excellent job. For our next exercise, I'm going to turn so that I have more space to extend. So we begin in that butterfly shape. Simply press the legs together. So you're rotating the legs back straight, letting them open to the sides, back together, and down. So we're in this sequence of movement patterns in the legs, just letting the shape change. This is a great movement pattern for the inner thighs to create stability and mobility. The inner legs can often be neglected as it's easier to access the outer glutes, the outer hips. So here, just creating that awareness as best as you can as you come through butterfly. Keep the feet pressing together. That'll help activate the inner thighs. Last 3 and 2 and 1. Let the hips and the legs come together. Find your butterfly once again. And this time, let the feet lower down to the mat. So coming into your butterfly shape. Last little bit of glute work before we stretch it out. Pressing the soles of the feet together. As you're ready, inhale. Bridge in the butterfly position, then squeeze the legs together, soles of the feet plant, and lower down. So again, it's that circuit of energy, lifting, closing the legs, and back down. Open, lift, close and press through the feet and back down. You might really feel the deep inner thigh work here as you squeeze the inner thighs together at the top. The upper body stays relaxed. Open, lift, close, and down. 3 more. Open, lift, close, and down. Last one here. Close and down. Let your feet open to about hips width distance apart. This is our last bit of work on each side. Let your hands rest by your sides. Left foot stays planted. Right leg extends. It's a simple pulse up and down. Single leg bridge here. Try not to flare the low ribs. Keep the belly integrated as you press that foot up. Last 8, 7. You can lift the left toes so that you're pressing through the heel. 4, 3, 2. Last one. We're going to hold, and simply circle the leg. Up, down, and in. Up, down, and in. We'll take this for 8. Finding that circulation in the leg as the left glute works here. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release that right foot down straight into the second side. So the left leg lifts up, lower down, up and down. Again, pressing through the right heel. The torso stays nice and relaxed with the belly engaged. So the shoulders are relaxed. You're not hunching in the shoulders or creating tension in the neck. Last 8, 7. Really engage that right glute. 5, 4, 3, 2. You got this one. Hold it here. Circle the leg. Nice wide circles. You can take out the hard edges and just make this a nice fluid shape, fluid motion in that leg. Let's find 8, 7, 6, almost there. 5, strong right leg. 3, 2, and 1. Release that down. Take your feet to the wide edges of your mat. Just windshield wiper the legs here, side to side. And then you can bring your feet back to parallel. Extend your right leg high. Reach for the back of your right thigh. Left knee stays bent, left foot on the mat. And just circle the ankle here. Starting to stretch into the back of the right leg. You can let your gaze soften as you shift into cool down mode. And then cross right ankle over left knee. Hug the shape of your legs into your body. Maybe gently rocking from side to side to find where you need it most. So I love this shape because it lets us target both inner and outer thighs, outer glutes, depending on kind of where you focus your attention. Last few breaths here, just countering all of that targeted effort and activation. Release your left foot back down to the mat. Take the outer edge of your right foot for half happy baby. So really anchoring the top of the right thigh towards the mat beside you. Creating space in the groin and the inner thighs. You can release that right foot down to the mat. Extend your left leg long. Circle the ankle here, circle the toes. In the other direction. You can hug that leg a little bit closer to you until you feel the hamstring begin to awaken. And And then as you're ready, crossing left ankle over right knee, figure 4 or supine pigeon shape, and just hugging and rocking the legs. Kind of that gentle embrace. Breathing deeply here as you feel sort of that pull of your awareness now inward. This time in our menstrual phase, such an opportunity for clear communication between heart and mind, and even within mind between left and right. It is a time of minimal hormone interference, so just really, even if you're feeling a bit tired or low energy, just resting in that clarity. And then letting the right foot come down, find half happy baby now on this side, pressing the top of the left thigh into the mat beside you. And if you like here, you can take full happy baby. You're turning the right knee up, just gently rocking side to side. And then begin to hug your knees into your chest. We'll enjoy a very passive twist here. Let both knees lower to the left. You can sort of shimmy onto the left hip if you need to, and then let your shoulders relax completely. So rather than gripping in the legs or the low belly, can you just relax and soften there? Really let your spine receive the twist. So let gravity make your legs heavy. You might find a bit of active pressing through the back of the right shoulder to counterbalance the legs. Breathing easy here, soft inhales and exhales. And then create a very gentle tone in the low belly to bring the knees back to center. And we'll switch sides, so coming now onto the right hip, gazing to the left, letting your upper body relax completely. Maybe just anchoring the left shoulder blade into the earth. And don't sweat it if your knees pop up or they don't rest in the way you want them to. Wherever you can, just let go a bit more. Soften the belly. And as you release control of the breath, just let your body be breathed. It happens whether you are conscious of it or not. So just be in that mode of receiving here. You might soften the eyes closed. And only when you're ready, coming back through center, let your knees knock in, bring your feet wide. One hand to heart, one hand to belly. And as you continue to breathe, just imagining each inhale, creating space in your body for something new. Every exhale allowing you to shed something that's holding you back. So this cyclical shedding that we find in the menstrual phase is that same opportunity. Can you feel your pelvic floor soften? Can you open the root lock, so the opposite to what might be a Kegel contraction? Can you really relax all through the pelvis? Let that energy flow out, clearing space for something new. perhaps a bit of self-love, a bit of expansion. Let's enjoy one more very deep breath together, inhaling. And with a sigh, exhale. Gently flutter your eyes open, let your knees move side to side. We'll start our journey back up to a seat whenever you're ready. Maybe rocking and rolling or coming onto one side. Pressing up here. And just giving yourself a moment to observe from head to toe how you're feeling, where you're feeling energy in your body. Maybe something has shifted. I want to take this moment to thank you so much for joining me in this practice today, for being gentle with yourself during this time in the cycle, and just allowing your body to be moved.